They said he was untouchable. The man of law, of order, of integrity. Keir Starmer, the poster politician for accountability. A former prosecutor turned party leader, hailed as the antidote to chaos. The clean break. The responsible grown-up in the room. But tonight, that carefully constructed image lies in ruins. And not because of gossip, not because of partisan politics, but because 100,000 voices just rose up against him, and this time, the courts are listening. You're watching Precious Update, where we don't play PR games, we pull the curtain back. So if you're tired of the spin and ready for the truth, make sure to subscribe now. Because this is just the beginning. The final court ruling in the Connolly case didn't just send ripples, it sent shockwaves through Westminster. And in the immediate aftermath, a petition calling for Keir Starmer's resignation crossed 100,000 signatures in under 48 hours. Not just a number, a roar, a public referendum on leadership, a line in the sand. And what does Starmer do when cornered? He explodes. Behind closed doors, insiders report panic, rage, desperation, because this wasn't supposed to happen. This was supposed to be buried, technical, legal, obscure. But the public didn't buy it. They saw through the legal jargon and found betrayal at its core. And they acted. So what's behind the outrage? It starts with Connolly, a name now etched in political infamy. A whistleblower, a former Labour advisor, a man who risked it all to expose internal corruption. Connolly didn't just point fingers, he brought receipts, financial records, internal memos, leaked emails implicating senior figures in the misuse of public funds, backroom donor deals, and a culture of enforced silence. He took his case to the courts, not the media. He believed in justice. And yet for over a year, Starmer's legal team fought to suppress the case, challenging jurisdiction, burying evidence, discrediting the man. But now, the judiciary has spoken and it sided with Connolly. The court's final ruling was damning. It validated core claims made by Connolly, especially those involving improper oversight, unethical fundraising practices, and deliberate obstruction of whistleblower protections. And not just involving mid-tier officials. No, Starmer's own office was implicated in procedural sabotage. Memos showed pressure campaigns on internal investigators, strategic delays, and worse, personal involvement in gagging orders meant to silence Connolly from speaking publicly while proceedings dragged on. It was suppression masquerading as due process. And the courts saw through it. The judgment, though legal in form, read like a political indictment. And the timing couldn't be worse. Labour's national conference is around the corner. Candidate selection battles are heating up. The public appetite for accountability is surging. And the party that once promised a clean break from cronyism now finds its leader clinging to power under a cloud of public disgrace. It's no longer just the Tories who are accused of protecting their own. The Labour machine, once a symbol of reform, now looks disturbingly familiar. And the petition, it wasn't a fringe effort. It began with former party staffers, joined quickly by grassroots members, then exploded into the wider public sphere. 100,000 names, verified, traceable, organized. Not trolls, not bots, citizens, voters, constituents. They're calling not just for reflection, but resignation. They're done with statements and optics. They want consequences. And Starmer knows it. Witnesses describe him as combustible following the ruling. Not the calm, composed figure he plays for the cameras. Behind the scenes, aides have reportedly been reprimanded. Crisis teams mobilized. Legal advisors scrambling to craft a rebuttal strategy that won't implode further. But the truth, there may be no rebuttal strong enough. Because it's not just legal. It's moral. What enraged the public wasn't merely a lapse of protocol, it was the sense that a man who built his brand on justice was now twisting the system to hide the truth. And Connolly, he's not backing down. In fact, he's doubling down. In a brief but emotional statement after the ruling, he thanked the public for standing by him, then hinted at further revelations still protected under non-disclosure clauses he intends to challenge. In other words, this may only be the tip of the iceberg. There are files, names, transactions, meetings, and if Connolly's legal standing continues to grow, those might soon be public. Meanwhile, key Labour figures are beginning to distance themselves. Some MPs, usually staunch defenders of the leadership, have gone conspicuously silent. Others have issued lukewarm statements that fall short of support. There are whispers in the parliamentary corridors about a leadership challenge, about a caretaker transition, about damage control. Because when 100,000 people make their voices heard in a matter of days, every party strategist knows what that really means. Public patience has snapped. And it's not just political, it's personal. Questions are now being raised about Starmer's inner circle, including the involvement of senior staffers in orchestrating the legal campaign against Connolly. Who knew what, and when? Who ordered the internal shutdowns? Who sanctioned the legal intimidations? These aren't rhetorical questions. They're part of new inquiries now being quietly launched not by the opposition, but within the party itself. One source described the atmosphere as toxic, volatile, and unsustainable. A reckoning is underway, and Starmer may not survive it. Of course, there are still loyalists defending him. They say he was protecting party unity, that Connolly was acting with an agenda, that due process was respected. But that narrative is losing ground fast. Because the facts now lie bare in a public court ruling. And the people, the 100,000 signatories, have made their judgment. They see hypocrisy, they see betrayal, and they want it purged from power. Will Starmer resign? That's the question burning through every newsroom, party office, and political forum tonight. Technically, he doesn't have to. Legally, there's no rule forcing it. But morally, politically, he may already be finished. His authority has been shredded. His credibility evaporated. And if Labour has any hope of maintaining public trust, especially heading into an election cycle, they may have to cut him loose to save the ship. And yet, Starmer being Starmer, he won't go quietly. Those close to him say he's preparing a defiant public address. That he still believes he can weather this storm. That the petition, while large, doesn't represent the true base. But let's be honest, when 6 figures of support rally behind a whistleblower exposing corruption tied directly to your office, no amount of PR spin can change what people now feel in their gut. It's over. So what happens next? More fallout, that's certain. More resignations may follow. More documents may emerge. More pressure will mount. The question isn't if Starmer survives this moment, it's whether the Labour Party does. Because the betrayal wasn't just one man's, it was a system-wide effort to silence truth for political convenience. And now that system has been caught red-handed. This is a historic moment in British politics. It's a test of accountability, of transparency, of the public's power to hold the powerful to account. And the people have spoken with 100,000 voices. Will Parliament listen? Will Labour listen? Will Keir Starmer finally do what honour demands and step down? For now, the nation watches. The petition grows. The pressure builds. And the legacy of Connolly, a lone whistleblower facing the machine, might just be the spark that resets the entire game. That's your critical update. As always, we bring you the stories they try to bury, fact-checked, uncensored, and real. If this report mattered to you, leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to Precious Update. Because this is more than just news.